Yep, that's what it is. We am live, literally last second. Just hey, we're both wearing double October shirts. Over the odds. We do not coordinate our shirt usage. Just sometimes it happens. What's going on, guys? It's a good thing I scheduled this for 5 minutes later because I'm having very, very slow internet issues. So if there's lag tonight, it is what it is, guys. What are you messing with?
Oh, I just realized I didn't turn off sound.
Oh yeah, good idea. Oh,
what readjusting the camera a little bit.
Just that way. Camera. Yep. We did not literally have time to do this ahead of time. Like I finished the upload at 8:18, had time to reset my Wi-Fi, and then literally started right up. So that's the thing. It's been a long day already. I can't even sleep in with Ambien.
Oh no!
We went to bed like around 10:30 last night, I think. I took an Ambien, started tripping out, and then fell asleep. Woke up at like 5:45, like just ready to go. I'm like, I guess that's 8-ish hours, but it is what it is, guys. Welcome to what's going to be a 4-hour discussion. It's not going to be a 4-hour discussion because he has to go to bed at like 10:30.
Yeah, pretty much.
he's a 5-year-old. He has to go to bed at a certain time.
I have responsibilities in the morning. Thank you very much.
It won't be a 4-hour discussion. We're gonna go through the thing. A good thing about an exposition episode is that basically we're just going to be repeating dialogue. There's not a whole lot to describe. There's actually like not even half as many screenshots as normal. And I'm just skipping the teaser altogether because it's not the important part of the discussion. There's a lot of important things that did happen, a lot of important things we saw. But before we get to that, make sure you go subscribe to this one. Link is in the description down below. Not enough of you are subscribing to him. I know. Because he tells me if numbers aren't really going up. So go subscribe to Rodimus. We need to get him up. We got like 60 some odd or 6,000 some odd people over here. We need to get at least a 1/6 of you to go over to his channel.
Would be nice. Go. I'm close to 200, I think, actually.
Go. I had to watch this episode at 0.75 speed. Why did you watch it slow, Ryan? That doesn't make sense. We've already got a lot of people in the chat. You see Ryan Walter, Totally Not Marlin, Sarah Lee, Ben R, Hida. So a couple other people further up that I hadn't seen before. Jeremy Osha, Lindell Rodriguez, Jerry Leal, Arturo, Plasmarks, Giostman, and Bacon Sazaby. It's interesting.
Bacon Sazaby?
I don't make up these names.
I think I like that name. That's a good, solid internet name there.
I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do with that. So, of course, as usual, guys, we got to go over what happened this week. Yesterday, work sucked, very tired, very sore, broken new boots, which basically feels like breaking your feet. And then he had stuff happen on his channel this week.
Let's see. I had an update for my custom entry, I believe. And what was the Beast Wars thing this time?
It's at the top of the notes. You should be able to see it.
Yeah, I did have an update. Rat Trap.
That's the anniversary Rat Trap. Yeah. The reason I know that is because I've ordered a rat trap for myself.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about those. I really want to see what those look like.
I don't know what just happened audio-wise. That was weird.
You lagged for a second, but...
Yeah, that was you, too. We both lagged. You lagged, I lagged. Something happened there. Audio also might be off by just a hair now for some reasons. Either way. So I actually had a full week of content for the first time in a while. So we had the first Master Grade Monday unboxing since the Gesta, and I have not started that at all. So there won't be a Master Grade Monday tomorrow. However, there will be a Star Wars Day video, coincidentally, for tomorrow, since it is May the 4th. Just coincidentally, I finished that review and then went, oh, I should release that on May the 4th. It's like, so coincidentally, and if you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, you already know what the review is going to be. If you're not, why aren't you? I post all kinds of fun stuff over there. And then I had the Leviathan from Beastbox, one of the more disappointing releases they've had recently. It's okay. There'll be more Beastbox reviews this week. And then on Wednesday, or that, wait, what day am I on now? I don't remember. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it was In the Kitchen, then the Beastbox thing. And then I had a new Transformers review from New Age, their version of G1 Brawn. He's about yay big. Oh, he's on. I actually put him on the display.
Brawn and Outback, right?
Outback, yeah. Very fun little figures. And you should get the Ninja Turtle ones.
I am so tempted to get those Ninja Turtle ones. Those are silly in just the right way.
Yeah. No, Arturo just didn't put us in the thumbnail this week because there's more important things. Didn't know how to incorporate us. It's like we can only do so many reaction faces, and this was literally like all like whoa. But anyways, I just thought it was a cool looking thumbnail concept, honestly. Yay. It took 4 iterations to get that to this version, just behind the scenes stuff. And then on Friday, I had the HG Bracer Phoenix disappointing ass review. I still don't like that thing, but I did put Scrapper to a good use with the new custom thing I made that'll be coming up this week. Of course, if you're following any of my posts, you got to see the mini Tolf.
It has been so neat watching you work on that thing.
Yeah. Except now I have to build more. I have been commissioned to build more.
Oh, so you're gonna make some money off of them?
Yeah, not much, but there's a couple guys that I have to make them for. One, I have to change the scale to fit an actual diorama for him, so that'll be interesting. The good thing is I can literally scale it. I have the exact plans. All I got to do is just, and then I just scale it accordingly. Nothing is more important than the thumbnail. It's true. The rest of the review be damned, as long as the thumbnail's good. I don't think I got a notification for the Rat Trap review. Well, then you should just always be checking the channel to see what's new. Right?
I know it went up kind of at a weird
went late
time
on Friday.
Because instead of coming up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, it came up.
I think you hit PM.
Yeah,
like, I think it was like 5.
Because I finished editing and stuff that morning.
Yeah. I do think that you may have just clicked PM by accident or something. It was in the afternoon. I looked and because I was thinking you didn't have a review up, and I knew you had one coming, and I was like, okay. And then boop, there was like way late.
Oh, I didn't schedule it. I finished it like that morning and then uploaded it. So that's why it came up at a weird time.
Yeah. Actually, I noticed like since Friday, like a lot of people just haven't put out that much content. Like it took me almost no time to scroll all the way back to like Saturday morning. So like I think like this weekend, like people are just like running out of content, or they're out running around because in a lot of states, the stay-at-home order got lifted, like here in Texas, and people just went nuts. There's at least 4 times as much traffic out there right now. Like Friday afternoon, I went running around, needed to go to a couple stores. I was hunting down some things. And I'm thinking, nobody's going to really go out, right? Wrong. Holy shit, there were so many people out there. Like, I forgot that many people live nearby. It's like traffic has been so wonderful for like a month. And now it's going to be horrendous again. But guys, it's coming up this week. So tomorrow will be a special Star Wars review here on the main channel. And then also on the secondary channel will be a Power Rangers review. So make sure you go watch both of those. Tuesday will be a thing. I set that for Tuesday. I set that for Wednesday. Another Beastbox review. Then I'll have a different Transformers review than I had planned because I picked up something this weekend that will end up being a comparison review more than a standard review because I need to prove a point. And then Friday will likely be the Mini Tolf review because I won't have anything built until then. But sad news. Very sad news. my Ecto-1 parts have been delayed.
You.
They were supposed to be here tomorrow, but for some reason they're in Grapevine and haven't moved all weekend. So they won't be here till Wednesday now.
Sad.
Yeah, because I'm waiting on it to get here so I can do the first live stream build. Because I wanted to do the bumper, like get the whole bumper and all that done, and then work through the rest. And I'm getting the next 4 parts all at once, which is crazy because I don't even know what they are, except for the engine block and all that. Which, if you're not watching Adam put his Ecto-1 together, and he did like a full weathered paint job of the engine and stuff, it was awesome. So that means I
need
now
to check that out. I know he was doing that, and I think I've seen a picture of his weathered engine block and stuff, but I haven't watched much of his actual stuff for the Ecto-1.
Yeah, it kind of felt unsafe at a few places. Yeah, no kidding. Although I went to a different Walmart yesterday than my normal one, and they did actually have the arrows on the floor telling you which way to go in and out of aisles to control the flow. And I was like, nobody's listening to that.
I forgot several times the last few times I went to Walmart.
Did they have aisle police? Like, hey, gotta go that way.
No, in fact, I think I passed by a couple of like employees who were like loading up stuff for basically curbside pickup or whatever. And yeah, I going along, and then I looked down. I was like, oh crud, I'm going the wrong direction. Oh well, I'm like halfway down the aisle now. Too late. I'm the problem.
We have a little bit of lag.
Oh no.
You are the problem. You are the problem because you're lagging.
Am I still lagging?
You're lag talking. A little bit.
Lagging. I don't know.
Yeah, your audio is off by a little bit. But oh well.
I'm off the Wi-Fi. I don't know what I can do.
I don't know. Like I said, my internet's wonky as it is, so it might be my end. Which Ecto-1? Go watch the unboxing. You'll find out. I already have a video on that. All right, so because this is such a dense episode, and frankly, I'm probably going to run out of stream through the Steam. You're getting jittery again. Now, we did have a plan to basically go over like the really important points of this, and that it ended up being so much exposition that we just kind of covered the whole episode anyways. It's only like the back half where we only have like 1 sentence breakdowns of things. And there's like a whole chunk that I personally like skipped in the notes because it's like, oh well, it's a continuation of last week. I don't care about that. More important things have happened. So this was episode 17, which is a thing. The Sacred Breast Quadron. Quadron.
It looks like you've corrected it by now. I'm looking.
I did correct it, but literally, as I was bringing up the notes while you were popping into the stream, I looked at it and I'm like, I wrote breast. Kudadorn. And we pick up exactly where we left off last week, where the divers are sitting and talking. Whoa. Your thing literally got caught up all of a sudden. You're like fast moving.
Okay.
I don't know. That was weird. Maybe it's because you touched the tablet. But anyway, we pick up exactly where we left off last week, where he's like, leave, like, get the fuck out. And we're like, we don't want to. We're the build divers. We don't want to leave, man.
And then he ate them, and the credits rolled, and that was it.
He can't eat them. He doesn't have a mouth. He just projects sound telepathically. Like, it's not even into people's brains. He's actually got psychic things that move the air the same way vocal cords would. He's projecting sound like a speaker through his entire body, which actually would be far more impressive of a psychic feat.
That sounds really rad, actually.
Yeah, actually. I want that to be canon. Like, that's how he speaks. Interesting happens or interesting things had happened. Yes, all of that. Once again, guys, we're going in order. Don't jump ahead. All breasts are sacred. Oh, damn it. That's what I get for typoing. Yes, patience, my children. Patience, children. Anyways, he basically, look, it's not your planet. It's the people of Eldora's problem. Get the hell out. You don't need to worry about this. And they're like, we're not leaving. Big ass satellite cannon, and He literally replies, "Oh, you know about that moon?" I was like, "Yeah, we were there. We kind of did that. We went up there. It's sort of our fault that that happened. We poked the naked pink bear, and it made a big lightning bolt at the
It's
world."
never a good idea to poke a naked pink bear. One, they're endangered. Two, they can, blow up your entire world.
They're endangered, and they're endangering. Does Sacred Beast look like skinned chicken head? I was thinking a turkey, personally, but also ostrich. He really looks like an ostrich, which looks a lot more like that.
Or maybe a little bit like what's those one? The cassowary.
A cassowary.
Cassowary. That's
You're
what
thinking a capybara combined with a cassowary. Capybara. Sorry, I'm late. How far are we in? At the beginning. That's how far we in. We're literally at the point that he says, "Nah, fam, you ain't got to worry about that gun because it'll take 500 hours to reset." And this is where I forgot to actually put in the clip where I showed the damage repair thing. I forgot to actually include that. But remember that I translated that screen showing that he had to activate the repair mode. So I guess this thing is very much a glass cannon. It's like, boom. All right, we're going to sit here for about 21 days, thereabouts. Now, does this calculation include the time that has already passed?
That's what I was wondering too.
Because it's been a while, at least a couple weeks or days.
We did the math, and that was 21 days.
We did.
Which we already know that at least a week or two has passed since.
It leaped in my mind.
So
super strong.
That means they've already lost quite a bit of time. But he could also be tied into it and know exactly how long it needs at that point.
Well, as we can tell, he's definitely tied into the system. We'll see a lot more of that coming up. He's another synthetic entity of this world. Clearly, he's tied into the main systems of everything, so he knows what's going on. And clearly, he, as we'll find out, knows about all of this as we go. He's all-knowing sacred beast. Don't call me that. Just put it on.
But that would be disrespectful.
Spoilers. Quit jumping ahead. I know I'm the one who's... That's not notes. This is notes. I got to find a way to make all this into one thing. Would you go? Thank you. Okay. But basically, the notes. Okay, but how? Okay, but why though? Why am I seeing 3 people looking at the notes? I've got 3 icons looking at the notes.
Probably because it's still up on my computer, and I'm using a different account to look at it on the iPad.
Yeah, because I'm seeing you, the wifey, and something else. Weird.
Is that yourself? I don't know.
No, I don't count when I'm looking at my own thing. Either way, it doesn't matter. Did you pass it on to someone else? Anyways. And then, of course, we do have Moran, who decided to chime in, is like Alice, the nemesis that lives, or the nemesis in the moon that sits atop the silver tower, and extra lines. And as you put it, like, why all the flowery language?
Yeah, especially since he's saying this is what how are we pronouncing it? Kuradorn calls it.
Kuradorn.
How he described it.
Kuradorn. Yeah, he literally says, "Isn't that how you described him?"
And I'm like, dude, you're a synthetic technological creation thing. You know full well that's an orbital elevator and a death satellite. Call it that.
Yeah.
Bestow. Majestic exposition eagle, bestow upon us your infinite wisdom. I like that. That's even funnier coming from somebody with the Dr. Fate's helmet.
Yeah. But yeah, the others are surprised. They're like, wait, how do you know all this? And basically, it's because this is actually Stargate, as I've been saying since like episode 1 of this season. This is Stargate, and the ancients built Alice because it's Stargate. They come through a tunnel, they pass through a thing, They appear on a foreign planet, and as we find out in this, the ancients do all the things for the same exact reason they do it in Stargate.
And
to sum all stuff in Stargate.
The comparison gets stronger and stronger as the episode goes. That's what I find infinitely amusing about this. It's like you and your Game of Thrones references during Origin.
Space Lannisters. Jerry, he rode up there with the divers, because remember he came to rescue them. The mountain landed near them. He flew up with them on their gunpla. That's how. Though I don't know how he planned to get down, as he runs away near the end of the episode to go tell everybody the good news.
He just runs up the cliff, goes, "Oh, this is a mistake."
He rode runner the fuck off the edge. Wily coyotes. And then you hear eventually. Once you know it isn't a game, the series doesn't watch the same. Hey, that rhymed. It's kind of surprising how right Shoki is about everything. Because I've seen TV. The ancients. Shush, Doobie. We're not there yet. Shush. No spoilers. We're not there. Oh, anyways, I kind of forgot to bring up the screen share. Damn it! I'm gonna hit the right tab eventually. You know, I really should reorganize these things. Okay, so they just cut to the scene of the moon and the orbital debris belt out there, so to speak. So we find out Alice was created by the ancients, and then we go to the intro. Yeah,
which is still awesome.
It's just an intro. It'll change after the quote unquote break. But basically, after we come back, the ancients were the creators, duh, and the ones who kind of started all this, and the ones that Freddy has mistook the divers to be. Mistook. So yes, that's the right word.
Bill Divers equals creators equals the ancients equals Bandai's paycheck.
Yeah, thanks for putting that the way you did, because it made it another title off to the side. Silly word. But yeah, basically builders, creators, duh, that's where they are. But then it's like, well, we build things, so I guess technically we're creators. You're a lot closer than you think there, Fisher boy. But basically, Alice was, as I stated before, he's meant to be the protector of this world. And as I stated before, there's a reason the gun was pointed away from the planet and he had to turn to face the planet, because it was meant to destroy things over there. That way. You know, one generally doesn't make a giant cannon for the purposes of blowing themselves up. But basically, they bring up the fact, look, he's killing these people. He's not protecting. And then Gordon says, no, he's just doing his duty. But no, he's doing this. He's doing his duty, which equals programming. The puppy people, or as we now know that they are known as, the new people.
They're still puppy people to me.
Hi, new guys. They're seen as invaders, which is not good for anybody. And since he doesn't know what they are, he wants to destroy them, because it's his job to defend this planet. But you know, that's all the Gunpla people need to know. Fuck out. Go away. Go back to your home.
None of your business.
Hello,
GTFO.
Yeah, exactly. Big Black Dragon Man. We can't leave. It's literally kind of that point. They're like, oh yeah, we can't quite leave. Though in theory, they could sign out like normal. They just couldn't come back like normal, right?
That's the question, because the only time I want to say we've seen them sign out was when they were forcibly ejected from the server because of the disruption wave.
Yeah. But
from the bot cannon.
I think prior to this, they signed out on their screens, but they went to the pads to do so. In theory, we've always assumed they went back there, and now that we know that they're made of sand that only functions at the thing, presumably they always went back to the temple instead of just going, pile of sand on wherever the heck they were. Hida, we'll get to that question here in a minute. So you can discuss all you like. We'll get there. But yeah, basically he's like, look, you don't need to know anymore until I decide here in a minute to tell you some more. Um, and it's like, look, and then they say, look, the new people, we new people are of Eldora. This is our problem. The divers are our friends. They've been helping us. It's their problem. Tell them what they want to know. You know, it like the frankly unreasonable dragon got very reasonable pretty quick. But he's like, this was one of the good lines where he says, you know, because we trusted him, many people were sacrificed. And we're kind of led to believe he's talking about Shido because obviously we'll get there. But I think he's talking about Alice personally.
I think he's referring to the Resistance and everybody that was in and around Seguri. Because he knows that because he knows the cannon went off. He knows it. He probably knows that it just wiped out a whole bunch of people.
Well, he does. He mentions it. He mentions it near the end. But no, what I'm saying is the he's referring to, the him. He didn't say them. He said him. I corrected that in your notes. He said we trusted him, and many people were sacrificed. So in theory, he's talking about Alice.
I misinterpreted what you were talking about.
You did.
I thought you were thinking about Shido or Alice being basically a sacrifice, which I could see Shido being considered a sacrifice considering what's going on to him right now.
Yeah, for sure. But it's he was referring, I think he's referring to Alice when he says we trusted him and then many people were sacrificed. But it could also mean Shido because for the same reason. But basically, this is where we get our exposition dump beginning, and they jump to the thing.
Gregorian chanting intensifies.
Yes, or cue Gregorian monks. So we get a lot of flashbacks in this, and it says that Alice was created, and we see this lovely face digitized out of nowhere. Was created with the wisdom of the ancients to encounter outside invaders. So they created a giant defense AI to defend against whatever is coming at them from the outside.
I still want to know who.
Everybody wants to know who because it doesn't make any sense, but we're not there yet. But okay, so we see this is when Alice first comes online, which is great and all. But then they change to this scene, which is
we pan up and we see these look like L-divers.
Okay, yeah. Specifically, and there's no doubt about it, the one on the left with the blondish hair is 100% modeled after Sarah, and the one on the right is very much modeled after Eve. And actually, in the next scene, or next shot, you can actually see these people from behind. The one with the dark hair, the one that looks like Eve, does have these split ponytail hair, just like Eve does. Like so. So for some reason, these ancient people look like at least two of the L-divers we know. The rest we don't see at all up close enough to recognize anybody. Plus, we only know one other L-diver. And frankly, nobody looks like May. Nobody else has long hair. Nobody looks like May. All their faces are blurred out, except for the two that we could easily recognize.
I could argue that the one on the right looks a little bit like May because she has the dark hair that splits. May's hair does a little bit of the split thing.
Yeah, but not in the same way. If you look at the model picture that I sent you that I forgot to add here, it's a direct comparison to Eve. The only thing that's different is the hair color, where obviously both Eve and Sarah have gray or white colored hair. So who knows? You know, and then May has dark gray or blackish hair. So either way, but we get this scene, which interestingly enough, even though we're zoomed out, we can see Alice is still naked. Even though he's seen to be wearing clothes later.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, and I thought that was weird. Also, they totally love purple diamonds. Like, it's their thing. Which also...
Purple diamonds and silver chevrons.
Silver chevrons. The other thing is, if you look at the two that we know here, their clothing in L-diver form actually continues on the diamond shape on their chest. I don't have those pictures on me at the moment. Sorry, guys. But either way, so we'll see what's going on with that because I think they're retconning their own thing about where L-divers came from, or it's a massive coincidence. We'll find out soon enough. We're going to have
I have ideas about that, but we'll get there when we get there.
My notes just went nuts. Okay, hold I hit arrow down and it jumped all the way to the top. But then from here, we jump to the moon. Why does this say not? Oh, you. That's right. This is your node. So fleet of sheeps.
I didn't even put sheeps. That's all.
No.
That's your mind.
No, the reason I said sheeps is just because of everything. What is going on over here? Everything is going wonky. Sarah and Eve had female ancients code, not all, but some of their data codes. Who knows? They don't really look old enough to be called ancient. They called them ancient. They were around a very long time ago. They were around long enough that a whole new species evolved to be the new intelligent dominant life form. That's a very long damn time. Can't live in a world without Freddy either. I want to focus on those two. They really wanted that too. But then again, we only know 2 other Eldivers. Either way, your point was we see the moon weapon surrounded by ships, and we see it charge up and fire at something over there. Clearly, they were in the middle of a war. They have battleships that all look interesting. We haven't been able to determine anything like that. Now we'll bring up the question that somebody said before. So clearly we see a much smaller moon with the weapon basically on the surface, sort of. But it also doesn't look the same. The big ball end of it isn't exposed like it is later on.
I think this is my thought, because I'm pointing at it like people can see me pointing at it. I'm thinking that what we are seeing, it's the same thing that on the screen right now. It's just whatever happened when it fired or after it fired destroyed the moon carapace that was around it and destroyed a lot of the cowling and stuff like that was outside, leaving just sort of the core sphere and the barrel that was coming off. Because there's a lot of design elements on the outside that we don't see in the current version. So I'm thinking that this is the complete
moon base,
undamaged version. And then he fires this blast off that's bigger than the moon itself.
Yeah.
Dwarfing all these spaceships, which, what the hell are they firing at that requires that big of a blast? Did Unicron show up?
Another planet. There's a lot of debris around the planet. But
Galactus?
Yeah, that would work too. He would just open his mouth and suck it in. Okay, so in theory, if they if it did wipe out a lot of this external stuff around the cannon, sure, that makes sense. But also the fact that it gets completely encapsulated in moon again, outside the whole cannon. So once again, it's a gravity sphere. It's a thing that has its own gravity. Millions of years go by, stuff will get attracted to it, and it will become a new moon over time. So realistically, it got buried again, just due probably to all the crap that was floating around, meteors, everything else. Once again, they were gone long enough for a whole new dominant intelligent species to come out of nowhere. So, assuming they weren't aliens that landed on the planet. Either way, L's resistance is futile. It is very similar. Well, in some ways, it's very similar to the cannon they use in 00 on the not design wise, but at least the way it fires and stuff like that. On the celestial being ship, you know, it's basically a big ass resource satellite turned into a ship. I will flip if the enemy the ancients fought was the L's. Yeah, so if they're actually fighting, that's why they keep mentioning the L's. So they're actually fighting the L's from 00. They would have lost. That would
be kind of neat, but yeah.
Well, if you look at the L's like replicators from Stargate, the more technology you throw at them, think about it. They replicate, they copy, they're microscopic life forms. And then they turn into stuff. But also, like they learned in Stargate, the more technology you throw at them, the more powerful they become. That's what happened in 00. They just kept fighting them with everything more intense and everything like that. They just kept copying what was thrown at them and getting stronger and stronger because they want to survive. They want to communicate, but you're misinterpreting what they do because they're killing people to do so. So yeah, if they're fighting the L's, it would be a bad thing. But that big ass gun would certainly take care of a lot of it.
Yeah.
That would give the 00 Quanta a run for its money. We're going to go back to that discussion. But either way, I think the question is not what it's firing at, but did anything survive? Because that is literally fuck everything over there, gun. That's what that is. Because you even get another cool shot here, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you see Eldor, you see the moon, and then you see lots of explosions in the distance like any other Gundam anime where they're having massive space battles. All the things over there exploding. Also, no debris field. So I don't think this is when it fired. I think this is kind of an unrelated later battle. Well,
either that or
the battle
after it fired, it exploded, and then that was when when it created the debris field or something.
I think you would see it there. Overheated. Also, that's a very weird perspective because like the moon is so close. Like to that, I get that they do weird perspective shots.
Yeah, it's a perspective thing.
Cool, but that is so close. Like that would be pulled in to the planet's gravity. Paw Patrol. What the hell are you talking about?
Wait, what?
I don't know what Ryan Walter just says. Paw Patrol. I don't even know why. If the intro is anything to go by, there's got to be some connection between Eve and May. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they share enough similarities, but we'll see what happens.
I kind of want there to not be a connection.
I don't either. I don't want them to be together because then it's like super coincidence. Oh, hey, remember me? I was your synthetic girlfriend, and then I died, but now I'm back.
Yeah,
no.
I feel that would maybe cheapen whatever happened to Eve. And to basically Hiruto's entire backstory. It wouldn't be like necessarily a destroy the entire series thing for me, but I don't think I would be happy with that.
Well, the fact
you guys know me, I'm the person that's usually pretty happy with just about any form of entertainment. So
he's referring to the puppy people as Paw Patrol. Okay.
Oh.
Anyways,
that's hilarious.
I don't want her to have been Eve reset and redone, reincarnated, whatever, because I think they're so different from each other. One loved peace and life and didn't want Hiruto to battle, and the other one is a stone cold badass. No, I don't want that to be a thing because then that clashes with who May is becoming.
Yeah.
And she can stand on her own. There's no reason to make her the same character. But I guess after a break we'll see what happens. Anyways, moving on from here. Big laser cannon makes things go boom. But basically, they said, look, he did what he had to do. He did his job. He did his duty for Queen and country. And then he was damaged in said battle, and they had to shut him down. So we see his cave, kind of, for lack of a better term here. Everything is pink. Now, in the intro, they did show us Alice once being green. At no point have they showed him being, or at least his area being green. He's always been pink. But you do see that he has hair, which is interesting.
And clothes.
And clothes, which he did not have before. Also very flowery, like dress-looking thing. He's already super androgynous. This makes it worse. But you notice all the screens don't really have anything going on them. And then, whoop, I jumped ahead. Wait, is that out of order? It might be out of order.
Spoilers.
That wasn't a spoiler. Oh, yeah, I did. I think I missed a picture there. Did I forget to do that one? I did forget to do that one. Oh, well. So the next shot is him actually, the close-up of his face and him smiling. And that was where I made the Sasuke joke in the notes. Because he looks like Sasuke wanting to get revenge. So when he mentioned that he went to sleep and then he had woken up, he meant it. Like, he literally went to sleep. He was shut down. And he was malfunctioning, more than likely. So they leave this enormous super weapon behind in sleep mode, hoping it'll never be reactivated. Oh, good. We're done with that war. We won't need this giant gun anymore. This synthetic.
Either that, or I guess they figured, okay, eventually new life is going to form here. We'll leave this guy here. He'll help protect them. It'll be great. He's never going to turn on them and try to destroy everything that lives on this planet that isn't us.
I don't even know that it was for that. I think they were just lazy, or they didn't have the resources. Like, they left it up there. Like, they left it up there just unmanned, so to speak, turned off, War's over. Our world is wrecked. I guess we're fine. That won't be a problem ever again. And then it says an eon passed, and the planet's regenerated, new life formed. And then, as you wrote, he woke up and got all pissy. And as other people commented, yeah, he's mad because he lost all his hair and his clothes.
Yeah, that's like he's bald and naked now. I'd probably be a little pissy too, especially if woke up, find your hair and clothes missing, and your world is covered with weird things that you don't recognize.
Yeah. So as you can see here, he wakes up and just starts scanning the planet, and then he's looking for the creators, obviously.
Yeah.
And then sees no creators, and then all of a sudden there's these weird cat dog people everywhere. And as we see here on the screen, as I translated, it says unidentified life form. It seems like they should have left the sensors on or something, like so that he could be updated. Get some firmware updates along the way. Like, oh, by the way, we're not here anymore. Sorry,
Anti-genocide patch.
Yeah, see, this is what happens when you don't fully power off your PC. So the question is, if he was just turned off, but he actually wasn't, like the whole time he's been awake, just unable to do anything in a prison of his own mind, then he finally then can come to the surface, and then he finds everything's a wreck. That'd be bad. Alice had a Britney Spears moment, shaved his head, and went crazy. True. Obviously, he lost some programming if his clothes didn't come back or his sweet blue hair.
Leave Alice alone.
I mean, he had a really cool anime anti-hero haircut. I mean, I'd kind of be mad too. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, there's a couple screens that can be translated in this episode, and you guys, that I went ahead and did that. I'm getting better at the language, like as time has progressed. I have two symbols that are letters. I don't know what they are. They're either J or Q. No words have come up that contain those letters in an order that makes sense, so I can't figure out which of the two is which, and they don't correlate to a design that would be like, oh, this is clearly like an O with a thing. It sucks. It really annoys me that I don't know which the last two letters are. The whole massacre happened because of Alice's hair jealousy towards the puppy people, probably. I forget this is a Gundam show. Yeah, it's like this is a show that's not about Gundam. It's a show that features Gundam. Hey, we have 27 people watching. Hi guys.
Hello, people.
Hey, we're almost up to our max number. See if we can hit 30. Go tell your friends. Go tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your dog.
Yeah, because he'll enjoy all the puppy people. Well, basically,
now the scene's coming up soon.
Yeah. Oh, did I not include the picture? I thought I included the picture of the attacking. I did. So I thought, but that came later apparently. Oh, okay, I forgot. So they showed the planet, rain, and all that stuff like that. You see the craters from the war, not creators, craters. So obviously the planet was literally impacted by this war that went on for God knows how long. So they leave, they fuck off, and then the planet regenerates. Actually, I don't think they left. I think they just stayed there at that point as the planet regenerated, because he tells two separate stories at different times, but not really correlate to each other. But we do see an interesting new life form. It's a birdie bird. We haven't seen any birds. We've seen no other small life forms on this planet so far. Until now. Literally, boof, here's a new cool looking birdie thing.
Yeah, and both of us kind of had the same thought about this initially.
I think because everybody had the same thought, because nobody wanted to go back and look at the episode where Miss Tori came out in the first season and go, look, it's Miss Tori. Look, it's a big bird with things. It's not the same bird, because that's what Miss Tori looks like.
And it's not even like her giant form, because one that's giant and still yellow.
Yeah, not even close. I forgot about her giant form. But I do like the idea that she seems to have some details of a sacred beast. That the jewel on the forehead, the eyes, the different decorations. So there might be a connection there somehow. Is she an ancient? Which would make a whole lot of sense given the context of this. Saitama approves the bald core Gundam. Approves the bald core. Oh, shush. I wonder what the name for the orange armor. We don't know yet. The Alice core Gundam bald because Alice is bald. Probably just because he thought it would easier to accentuate with a new mask. This is somehow the most and least Gundam show they've put out. Yep, simultaneously.
Kinda, right?
It's both the most Gundam thing and the least Gundam thing at the same time. But I wanted to point out back at the previous picture where you see the actual landscape change. So it looks like a desert with a whole bunch of craters, and then rivers come back, trees come back, and then the craters all fill in and actually turn into either mountains or mesas. I thought that was interesting because most of our craters here on Earth haven't done that. You know, it's like if you look around the planet, some of the larger craters in Earth have never healed up. They've never covered over. This world, apparently they have. So
part of that could be, if I remember correctly, in the sort of the before shot, there wasn't a whole lot of trees and stuff like that. So there could have been like a dust bowl effect that basically strong winds and dirt and stuff like that swept over those areas, weathered things down a little bit faster, as well as filled things in. Because you do actually see that, like, when they go from the before shot to this shot, you see that the craters that were there are now they're not as tall, and as well as some are filled out or just weathered away.
Yeah, but my point is, how much time has passed for a crater to fill in solid?
He specifically says like an eon.
He said eons.
Or eons. Did he say eons with a plural?
He said eons. He said either an eon, which is not really a defined amount of time. It's like an age past. It's like, was that 100 years? Was that 1,000 years? Either way, new life has reformed on the planet, possibly due to the ancients interfering, because we know that they concede life. No, wait, that's Stargate.
These ones still probably could.
That's what I'm getting.
For all we know, it could be the same people.
What if they created their own replicators by using their sand technology and they turned on them, and that's who they were fighting? Because it's Stargate. Anyways, Eldora is such a cool name. It is, I guess. At this point, not even the important stuff from Series 1 Divers matters anymore. You only need to know. Apparently it does. Like, because if they tie enough of this back to Season 1, or Series 1, I should say, in theory, like, we'll find out why the Divers came into existence in the first place, because of what's going to happen here very soon. Stop getting ahead of me, guys. You just say eons. It's a Pokemon. It's kind of a Pokemon. They're all Pokemon at this point. But after that, basically Alice says, "Hey, fuck you," and starts attacking people with one eyes. We already saw this last time, but obviously Gunpla don't exist yet. He doesn't know about them, so his main offensive attack is these weird ball thingies. Also, gotta wonder, are these the thing that they were fighting, and he just usurped them, since he has the tendency to copy his enemies.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. So maybe not necessarily exactly what they look like.
Did they fight off an approximation with his thing? Yeah.
Sort of like how he has the approximations of
the
Death Army, the Daughters, even the Seltsam is an approximation of the Tertium.
Yeah, Tertium. Anyways, maybe they were attacked by Haros. Ultimately, they were attacked by Haros. That's how he perceived them. Maybe he's got shitty eyesight, and that's why everything is warped. Their molecules are being in the beginning. Yeah, that's another interesting idea there, Jerry. Yeah, that is an interesting idea, Jerry, that they are kind of molecules or one-celled beings, given what we see later. But the next important thing is that they discuss Shido. They're like, okay, so wait. They come to the realization that we were talking that Moran maybe summoned Shido. It was actually Kurodorn summoned him. And they're like, wait a minute, you're the one who summoned him. How? How did you do that? And he's like, well, it's like, as we pointed out earlier, Alice, or hold on, I forgot about that. You actually get a quick flashback to first episode where Kazumi is walking with Hiruto, and he says, I don't know, but I guess there's a dragon NPC as well. Mind-blowing that Shido came back and was talking about his mission at one point, to the point that it spread the knowledge and rumors to the point that our main heroes actually end up accidentally themselves into this world.
Heck, we even knew that he did that before because his sister said something about the picture and say it's like, yeah, he said he was doing something important, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
There's the picture of him with the resistance people in Moran.
Yeah,
Shido,
so he's come. Shido. He was coming in, or Sid, if you want to say that. It's Shido. Yeah, his name is Shido, so that's just how they kind of say Sid. But yeah, basically, he actually was going in and out running missions, and as we saw in the teaser, you know, we saw cool stuff. But basically, the only ones who can stop Alice are the Ancients. You know, we even saw that whenever they went up there to talk to him, or they found him rather, and he was trying to address them. He's like, "Oh, you're not the ones who came before." He meant the Ancients. He didn't mean other divers. You know, or maybe he did, or maybe he was referring to the ones who came and attacked the planet. Who knows? We'll find out. But either way, he's waiting for his creators to come back. He's like waiting for his boss to come back and like give him new orders, something, or put him back to sleep. Maybe that's the other thing. Maybe he's stuck awake now. But apparently it hasn't been that long since he's been attacking. You know, because Sid's only been in a coma for what, 6 months?
I think it's something like that.
I think it was 6 months. So
too long, they've only been not that long.
Yeah, too long for a person who's logged into GBN to be that fucked up. So at least Alice hasn't seen IBO mobile armors yet.
Oh god.
Well, yeah, IBO stuff doesn't exist in GBN. Not allowed to yet. Now I want Haropla of the One Eyes. Make it. Like I said before, use those flex from other things as the arms. So basically, he needed to find Shido. But he thought, and now we get the backstory of the Ancients leaving Eldora. First, a big fleet of them. I say a big one. There's probably only like 11 ships there. But they're very interesting design that I can't nail down. And they definitely made CG models of these. So I feel like we're going to see them again at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, they're so small. It's not really worth trying to enlarge and, you know, zoom and enhance, so to speak. But to me, they look a lot like the new Castle of Lions from the Netflix
They really
Voltron.
do.
Like, and I can't tell if they're 4 spires or 3, like, or wings or whatever you want to call it. Kind of hard to tell.
Looks to me like they're 3, which, considering that a lot of their stuff is chevron or triangle based, excuse me, it makes sense that maybe their designs would be 3.
Yeah.
Plus,
that would actually make sense. Actually, they're diamond based, not triangle.
Have 3 or 4 limbs?
4.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
And they're not. It's not a diamond. It's not in the triangle. It's a diamond. It's good. Be thankful Alice hasn't seen Unicorn or Trailblazer. Well, the thing is, they're not seeing fiction. They're not seeing the Gundam fiction. They're just looking into GBN, as we'll discover here shortly. But the thing is, not everybody left. Not all of the Ancients left. Some decided to stick it out and see what happened to their planet. Cool. You know, and again, they look like this.
And again, the analogies between this and the Stargate agents keeps getting stronger.
Because, you know, shit went wrong. They leave the planet. Which is really funny because if you know the history of Stargate, SG-1, and Atlantis, and even Universe, because it kind of ties in a little bit. So the Ancients didn't technically start out on Earth, but that's mostly where they are as humanoid creatures for the most part. Not counting the first galaxy they started out, where they split off from their main. Either way, forget the Ori seasons. Anyway, so they come to Earth. They advance their technology so much that they create the Stargates. They seed the galaxy with life, create new things, including some very bad stuff. And then they eventually, because of a plague on Earth, gate to the Pegasus galaxy. How? Well, just forget about that. It's like how they gated to a whole other galaxy. We don't. The ZPMs. They somehow created a gate elsewhere. Actually, now that we know they had gate ships, that makes sense that they could have done that. They would have sent the ship ahead of. Anyways, universe once again. Anyway, so they escaped to the Pegasus Galaxy. No, they didn't. They flew in Atlantis. That's right. My bad. They didn't gate there. They made Atlantis on Earth. Flew there. I was wrong. Sorry. I was just watching Stargate Atlantis yesterday because I was bored. Anyways, so it makes sense. They leave Earth. They go to the Pegasus Galaxy. They do all the same thing in the Pegasus Galaxy. If they get into a war with the Wraith and then have to leave, they gate back to Earth, except for some that end up having to escape via ship, which was actually one of the episodes I was watching yesterday. Whereas the ship that was stuck in between the space between galaxies because they couldn't go into hyperspace. They could only go 0.9999 the speed of light. So wow. Either way, these guys, all 6 of them, stayed behind. Maybe there's more, and I don't know who dropped the camera on the ground like that to be a jerk, or why they're staring up at the sky like they could still see the spaceships. Either way, they stayed behind and wanted to see what happened to the planet. Wait, if the gunpla and the players are made out of sand, does that mean the Gundams are flesh-based? No, they're based off of what they're coming across as. They're coming across as robots. The Lefine Ancients turned into sand and their DNA evolved a new puppy people. I don't think about that. A la Prometheus. I don't believe it was anything like that. Which one is Patrick? The Patrick, there were 2 Patrick cameos in this episode. They're like, hey, we know we're going to be gone for a little while. Why are you buzzing at me, phone? But the crazy thing is, these guys, they're like, okay, so the planet's still not great and we still need to leave. So they create the incarnation system that we know, that we've seen, that we now know, due to me at least, we know the name of. If anyone else watches reviews of the series, if there are reviews of the series elsewhere, has anyone else bothered to translate the screens, or is it just me? Like, if you know, let me know, because I haven't seen anybody else discussing this. In fact,
I need to look into that, because that was something I was wondering too, if you were the only person translating this, because it's, I mean, to me, it seemed like it seemed obvious to look into it to see if there was an alphabet thing going on here.
By the way, we're up to 30. Woo! We hit 30. Cool. But so they create the incarnation system, and they decide to, let's see, how do we explain this? They ascend, just like the fucking
Right?
ancients. They convert themselves to pure energy and data. And the weird thing, okay, so how they do this? So first of all, we see the shots. They have the pads in the temples, stuff like that. They digitize themselves. They have their screens up. They go away. The concept is they literally turn themselves into electronic data and then just shoot it off into the universe and hopefully land somewhere? Or did they have a target? That's one thing he didn't seem to understand. He literally says, like,
intergalactic cloud storage?
Yeah, but he said they sent themselves out into the cosmos. It's crazy. Carlos says I'm the only one. Also, Doobie says I'm the only one. Literally the only YouTuber doing anything translating that I've seen. Crazy. It's what happens. Either way, so we do get more screens to translate here. So this one is really interesting. So this is the first one as he's describing what they did to themselves. Also, that's totally the same stone tablet or that Freddy uses.
Oh, it is, isn't
literally, it says transition. And then, oh, did I not translate the bottom section there? My bad. Oh, that's it's a command system startup. That's what that is. Sorry, I didn't. Is it bad that I remember that? So like the below transition, it's the same thing that we saw when Freddy activated the system before, when it translated everything for him. It says command system startup. And the sad thing is I recognized it. I started and then I went, oh, never mind. I know what that says already. Things I recognize. Command system life form. It's like at this point I can read those like, oh, okay, and cancel. That's what I really get. So they get the, but here's the funny part. Okay, at the moment where I've paused it, it looks like he's reaching for cancel, but he actually does hit the okay button. Also, I love the fact that they have okay in their language. Not yes. Yeah. Okay. It's not yes or no. It's okay or never mind. I thought that was funny. But then he hit the button or she, and then it turns into electrical transmission. So more interestingness to the world there. So they literally are digitizing their data. They're actually, like we have said, it's a transporter, just like Star Trek.
So they're going
And
digital, completely digital.
It is the concept of a replicator and a transporter from Star Trek, but then also Stargate also had teleporters. So there's that, not exactly the same because it's Asgard tech, but the ancients had it too. Ancients could use transport. It was a thing. It was pretty cool actually. Except they had the ones that were in the city, like they pushed the button, like went into the booth, pushed the button, and they came out somewhere else in the city. So they were literally being transferred through the data streams of the city, which is kind of weird because imagine if somebody accidentally like turned off power as your data was going through there. Either way, Shoki equals Alice. It'd be funny. How long before Shoki's eyes start glowing purple? I don't know. I thought about doing that in a thumbnail soon. Like put Alice's eyes. I just realized that they never differentiate between whether the ancients use magic or science, since we've seen they're using magical stuff like Ancient Beast. Yes, but it's the new people who have perpetuated the myths of the Ancient Beast. Even Coeur d'Orne doesn't address himself as a ancient sacred beast. I'm just Coeur d'Orne. It's like he's literally another computer program / weapon. He has no other purpose. He has no other thing. He's a protector. We already said that last time. He's a protector of the skies and the seas, or the lands and seas. Back in episode 16-17, I found a user who commented that he translated the letters. I don't remember, he bumped at a link or something. Fuck that guy. I did it first. He's becoming an innovator. Yep, kind of. You're literally okay. So either way, so they turn to, but they don't like fall into dust because they have physical bodies. So they're actually changing their bodies into electrical data, which is crazy. So the incarnation system is actually meant for their inevitable return, as we find out here in a little bit, but it wasn't designed for them to come and go, so to speak. They just basically said, fuck our bodies, we're just going to turn ourselves into data and hope we pop out somewhere. Or maybe the ancients that left set up an incarnation system elsewhere because they couldn't transport everybody. He said it was a choice. Maybe it was literally like, we got too many people. You stay here. We're going to go set up a gate over the... Damn it. It's coming back to Stargate. But the idea that he said they just sent themselves into the cosmos. Like, they're like... But the fact that they chose, they like reached a state of enlightenment.
Yeah, to the point they ascended.
Yeah, they ascended. Rayquaza with legs and wings. Yeah, these Rayquaza. Well, Rayquaza, it stays in the atmosphere though, protects everything up there. He only comes down when people.
He looks more like if I had to compare him to an existing Pokemon, he looks more like is it Dialga? Is the
He looks more like Dialga.
Yeah,
he's somewhere between Dialga, Palkia, the creator Pokemon. Go figure. He's in
maybe
there. He's in there with
a bit of Giratina.
Yeah, and some what is that big metal bird? Not a legendary, but
Skarmory.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, a little Skarmory in there too. Paint Skarmory black with paint his wings white. He'd kind of be there. Also, I love the feathers behind the jawline on him that make it look almost like a beard. So he's got like the long hanging on bits. This almost look like white hair behind his face. I thought it was really cool. He really looks like any Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, he does look like a Yu-Gi-Oh monster. He looks like something that Kaiba would have played down the line. Or Jaden. No, I don't think Jaden would have played it. Oh, I'm already on this screen. I'm sitting here trying to open a screen that's already open. But either way, what he says is that Coeur d'Orne, anyways, he said that he trying to follow their traces, so he could follow the electrical signals they sent. And he said, "Look, I could only get so far, but I found one that I followed all the way to some place, a certain place, in fact." I don't know where it was. It just went there.
Neither do I. Credits roll. Everybody's confused.
Credits roll. Yeah. You went to GBN. Come on. We already knew this. I love the idea that the transition Stargate. It actually looks a lot like the Stargate path. Whenever they go from gate to gate, it's like turns until it lands on the planet on the other side. And I love the idea. It leaves from Eldora, like it zooms out from the planet through the moon, through the dust field, turns around, star, Jupiter. It's like they specifically showed Jupiter and a couple other clear planets, Earth, and then GBN. So he legit followed it across the galaxy to Earth, where he somehow hacks into GBN. Because reasons. So super advanced AI on a planet 30 light years away can scan the universe, follow an electrical signal. Also, we still don't really know how long ago that was, like that they left in that manner. You know, we talk about the differential between the war and the planet regrowing, but never when they left. That's the problem with the way they exposit this. We don't know if they left completely and then the planet regrew, or shut down Alice, they stayed there for a while, and then they left, and then eventually he said, Alice is awake, fuck. And then he went to search for help. Well, he went to go find the creators. Hey, he's getting out of control again. Hello?
Mom? Dad?
Mom?
Little brother's breaking stuff again.
That's an interesting idea, because he is little brother. Because Corridorn existed first.
Yep.
So wait, why did they create him? Like, we don't know why he was created. We just know he's another form of a protector. Alice is literally like, I'm gonna sit inside the moon and blow shit up. You can fly around and fight things head to head, which we did see. I didn't get a shot of that. They use that still image where he flies in front of him, in front of the moon.
Corridorn says that he is like the protector of like the land and sea or something like that.
Yeah, he did say the land and sea, which makes
so Alice is probably more the planet. Alice is probably more the protector of space, maybe, or the sky.
Yeah, see, that's what I brought up before. We're thinking of the concept of elementals. He protects this plane, and then Alice was meant to protect everything outside of the planet. Like Corridor's probably only like, okay, I can only function this far before I don't have many powers. Because we saw he shot his lightning into the sky and then it attacked. Maybe he doesn't have a good range, you know, even though he's fighting in space and he can fly in space somehow. Because mythical being, mythical cybernetic creature. I hope he doesn't die. I just thought about that. I hope he doesn't get wiped out like trying to protect the divers. Which, given the type of series it is. Now the type of series it is, that's what's going to happen at some point. He'll sacrifice himself, give his power to someone. Oh, he'll give it to May because he recognizes May as a synthetic life form. Interesting. You are one of the creators. Anyways, but yeah, I said he kind of said that he followed one path. I don't know if he meant he followed only a single life form that made it to GBN, or if that's the only path that was strong enough left that he could follow. Because obviously we've got some type of incarnation of Eve, and unless they're just like, hey, we're just going to tease you with this. It's not actually real. So the question is, did they go to Earth, or did they end up in GBN? Because it would take a while for a signal to get across the galaxy. 30 light years is a long way, even traveling the speed of light.
But we do know that the energy from the super weapon basically traveled faster than the speed of light. That was how it was able to affect Earth.
The weapon did, but that doesn't mean that presumably, excuse me, the incarnation system connection to GBN is instant.
Yeah.
Like, they load up in one place, they pop out the other end, maybe a minute, who knows? But it's almost a direct connection. Like, it's almost like a wormhole.
Or a gate through the stars.
That's a wormhole. It's a wormhole in a ring. Anyways, but the fact that it took him a while he said he traced it. Like, he was like, okay, This one dead ends in the middle of nowhere. They didn't go this way or can't follow this one. Sniffs out another one. Okay, this one ended up somewhere. So the real question is, and I guess we'll have to find out eventually when they get there, did the original ancients, the ones that left in ships, make it to Earth whenever, millions of years ago? Who the hell knows? And were they humans? Like, did they end up creating humans on this planet, leaving behind some of their tech to the point that GBN gets created eons later? Because there's, how the hell could technology existing that far apart from an ancient species be like an exact match? That's not a coincidence.
Heck, it's possible that maybe it's not
Like,
even a...
So a system that can perfectly...
I mean, we're making the analogy of the ancients from Stargate, where they came by and seeded the planet with life. But what if it's also... But what if in this case, it's not so much they showed up in the ancient past, they showed up somewhat recently, and they helped create GBN and create a lot of the technological advancements that make the existence of this virtual reality Gunpla system, and even the predecessor to GBN, possible.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense, and the fact that it would have to be somebody who works for Bandai. So, like you said, Bandai makes money. But the idea, no, because they wouldn't be interested in the Gunpla part. They just needed GBN to exist, the real life simulation to exist. So maybe they did come to Earth and they had this tech, and they just said, "Hey, we're going to pretend to be a tech company. We already speak your language. We don't read it, but we speak it. We speak universal English." I mean, it would make sense, but the community aspect of GBN wouldn't make sense unless they created it to be their incarnation system there, and then it gets adopted to being GBN. And it's also a way that, say, their ships can't go back. If they came here and like decided to hide amongst humans, their ships can't go back to Eldora, but they can connect via GBN to get back, but they just never did. So if it's an existing living ancient who did it, they would do it so they could get back to Eldora. That was the whole idea. They wanted to come back eventually. They just couldn't live there then. That's why they left the incarnation system behind. So, I mean, obviously we'll find out eventually that somebody somewhere was keyed into it. But having the Divers just be ancients that escaped that way a long-ass time ago, like, and then shot themselves in, like, I don't know, maybe they were just bouncing around the universe as electrical signals until a similar system cropped up somewhere, and they just happened to fall into GBN with some data loss.
And if you remember what they said about Sarah, assuming that they're not going to completely retcon everything, they said that Sarah was created by, what was the excess data from GBN? Well, it could be a combination of that, where Sarah is part of an ancient, and that data mingled with the excess data of GBN, and thus we get Sarah, who doesn't have any memories about being an ancient alien from another world.
Well, I mean, like I said, some data loss where we don't have their memories, but that would be a hell of a fatal flaw of the system of trying to, make their life indoors, so to speak. But I think it's more, because the part that doesn't make sense, the two that we see that are clearly Sarah and Eve are not amongst the ones that stay behind. Also, it makes sense why there's 6 pads. If there's 6 of them that stayed, there's 6 pads. Why they needed more temples, we don't know. I guess just to have more ability for people to come back quickly.
Either that or there's in more than just the 6
on one continent. Yeah. I mean, it could be a fragment of an ancient, or it's just a reference to just fuck with us. They may never address it. They've done that before, But the idea, like you said before, the idea that the cannon let off an energy wave that was so strong it traveled across the cosmos, super fast, faster than the speed of light. Well, in theory, it goes to Earth with a zip file and gets stuck on a Nokia N-Gage for a while. that would be interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that's one of the more interesting things to really kind of theorize about. And then, yeah, we get our Patrick cameo, or the first Patrick cameo there, where he's first logs into GBN and he sees that battle where those guys were all together, stuff like that, stuff from the beginning. But then he said the only person who responded was Sid. So there's literally a dragon talking on a screen in an alleyway, and Sid happened to walk by. Same way that happened to Freddy. They're like, wait, what? There's a screen right here. And then he starts yelling through it. It's like, imagine just a very calm dragon. Hello? Hello?
Hello? What the
random
like, what
in a
the
random
heck am I
alleyway.
looking at here? Why? Oh, there's a thing.
Yeah, he literally.
You need to come here.
Do you want to play? Well, I feel like he had a conversation with him because he finds out he's a warrior and he needed a warrior who would help him fight. He couldn't find the creators, which clearly he didn't. He needed somebody who could help him fight, so he wanted a warrior. He happened to get one. But I love the idea. Like he looks down, like the screen's like on the ground or something. Ancients probably got attacked after they left, hence why so few. Who knows how many were left after that big ass battle, anyways. Either way. But I love the idea. So basically, he's like, look, we're going to fight together. And he's like, cool, I get to fight with a dragon. You get to see him teleport into the thing, or the Gunpla, rather. The third team comes in, he comes in, you see his face, like I used for the thumbnail, which was pretty cool. And then, we see the thrones here, which we mentioned before. So I didn't have it in the notes here for some reason. But yeah, I did real bad. I didn't put some things in the notes, and then I didn't put some things in the actual screenshot folder. But I like that the throne is legit, like where they come in. You know, and they mentioned that at some point that they mentioned that the thrones are there for ancient kings that he used to fight with. You know, so they had to fight battles before. So I'm guessing on Earth, on Eldora, they had to fight battles, which is why he exists. And then when they knew that outside forces were going to be a problem, they created Alice. Like, yeah, our ground dragons.
Ancients were giant.
I don't think so, but well, we know they're not because we see how big they are on the teleportation pads. They're the same size as humans.
Okay, fair enough.
Why they created giant other spots, we don't know. I brought this up last time, remember? I brought it up, why do they have teleportation pads big enough for Gunpla? What were they planning? But then again, we don't know what they used to have. Then again, also leads to the idea that maybe Alice did borrow this weaponized idea from the enemies they fought, which are really big. And maybe they had something to fight them for a while, you know? But as you see him fighting with... what the hell? I did not have that image in the folder. Why not?
I was about to say, I thought you may skip something.
Jump that far. I don't know how I did skip that. Okay, so I forgot to get it in the folder. Sorry, guys. It's the shot of them fighting the One Eyes in a pile, so to speak, where they're forming up to make stronger formations. As somebody else brought up, the idea they look like molecules and they're building branches.
Very much so.
So think of it as a one-celled thing or a one-organized thing, and it starts creating atoms, starts creating more complex things until they're not good enough. And then if they cover, I'm just going to stop screen sharing for the time being. Since I screwed that up. I knew I did that too, because there was like 3 things I put in the notes and then forgot to save on the other side. But the idea that, you know, he needed help. He found a warrior to come help him. And then, yay, we're winning, until all of a sudden he's not on our side anymore. He stops helping and starts hurting. So we already know he gets captured and gets enslaved by Alice. But the thing is that Corridor doesn't seem to understand what happened. He just thinks he was betrayed. Even blaming himself for the idea, he's like, look, this system wasn't meant for Gunpla and people of the Gunpla. It was meant for the creators. It was meant for the kings that I used to fight with. And I shouldn't have used the system this way. This is my punishment. So I have to fix this, you know? It's like, wow, emo dragon. Like, good God, like and obviously in a previous
He does sit
battle,
in a big dark room.
he does. Well, he's trying to heal up, so I mean, it makes sense. You know, he got damaged probably by the Self-Sam, if we're honest, because Alice doesn't seem to probably be able to do much. He was probably fighting the One Eyes for a while, but then he realized, look, we got to get the creators back, you know. But then they couldn't do that. Next best thing, blow the fuckers up as best we can. Odd. I'm gonna guess what he left out was we went to space, and that's how I lost Masaki. But even Muran jumps in. He's like, "Wait, you told me, you know, it was your fault, but you didn't explain that. That you interpreted this as your fault. That you shouldn't have done this. You know." Is the sand made from ancients? No, it's not made of ancients. They left it behind so they could recreate themselves. If the ancients ever come back, they would be made of sand just like the divers are. Attack on Titan flesh suits. Yeah. Maybe the ancients were masters of genetic manipulation. Did they have giant meat suits? Not likely. They seem to really like super clean, very big structures. So, I mean, the whole moon complex looks like a battle station. We know they had ships. So, I mean, maybe those things are made to bring their ships back, like their fighters if they need them or something. You know, if you need to get around a planet that you abandoned a few million years ago, you might want to be able to bring back some machines with you. So it would make sense that outside is for the big shit, inside is for little shit, except for the one temple that everything comes in on the ground floor. Because the person who created Milog, like, very different aesthetic to Jungle Person, or, you know, there's six, in theory, maybe there's 6 temples, but they only know 4. That's not 4, this is 4. That would be interesting if there were other temples they don't know about, because 6 people stayed behind. But why would they? I don't get why. This is where they start really messing up their own story. Why would multiple temples be necessary when Milog would be the perfect safe place to always come back? They don't have to worry about shit happening on the ground. It's protected by a bubble and a big ass dragon. We literally come back on Milog and then make that our new base to start over. Why would they ever need temples on the ground that could be destroyed by age or weather or anything else? Even though there's a giant dragon who can control the weather and probably prevent shit from happening. I don't know.
There's obviously a lot more going on here than they've told us so far.
Yeah, I think they wrote themselves. They're kind of writing themselves in circles a little bit, if we're honest here. Anyways, yes, there was your point there. Did they have their own mobile suits? I think they might have had something akin to mobile suits. But basically from here on, it's just talk no jutsu, where they basically bring them to their side. Look, we're here. You're fucked up. These people are our friends. We don't want them to suffer. Plus, we need to see if Kazumi will, in fact, have sex with Maya eventually and have a little furry fishman baby. So we got to stick around and do this. And he's like, well, it's like they trust. And then literally, Freddie, Muran, they're all like, look, we trust them with our lives. Literally, they have done everything in their power to save us. And except for the one time they fucked up really bad, but it wasn't their fault. You know, you could have told us all this shit before. Like, Muran, I get that he was untrusting of the people of the Gunpla due to the fact of what happened with him. But literally could have said, by the way, there's a big ass dragon in charge of everything. He could probably tell us everything. Let's go see that first. Then we'll go up the Silver Tower. Nope. Here's the thing. Go to the Silver Tower. And, you know, he knew what Alice was to a degree.
I mean,
he had clearly been told about Alice. And he didn't say
that Sid fought with Cordon and was involved with the injury that Cordon has, he could be trying to protect the sacred beast, thinking that,
I mean,
oh great, we got more of these people. The last time I trusted one of them, our big scary dragon got all screwed up. I don't want that to happen again.
Okay. And that's a fine point. But did the Resistance know about the big scary dragon that's on our side? No, they didn't. Or if they would have been like, we should probably call the big scary dragon. No, let's rely on the strangers, the big robots that they perceived to be sacred beasts because they came from the temple and had all this power. So they perceived them to be sacred beasts. Only Moran seemed to know about Kuradon. And the big scary dragon clearly wasn't active anywhere where the villages were still left alive. They just know of a dragon, potentially, but nobody alive has seen him except for Moran, who knows him face to fucking face. Like, how did that happen? But then even the other resistance members with Moran met Masaki had to have known. Because at some point, Big Scary Dragon is riding around with our cool Gumpla friend, blowing up one eyes until both get shot to fuck, and then we lose both big-ass weapons. Except for the fact that the other one is just chilling in a mountain and can send lightning anytime he wants. Still would have been useful.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, giant Gumpla things are now attacking. You want to nuke those for us? Nah. Please? Nah. I'm going to
Maybe he was sleeping.
Sleep, sleep. Sleep, sleep.
You don't want to wake up the scary dragon.
Don't sleep in the nether. The only Glipnir that I know is a weapon on Blitz. Yeah. Kuradorn put a restraining order against Moran. Well, I mean, he did have a big floating island to keep him out. All the resistance that knew are probably dead. Now, Moran wasn't dead, and he was part of the main resistance leadership that we met.
Yeah.
He could have been like, guys, I got a big dragon friend. If we just help him out, maybe he'll blow all these guys up for us. No, just secrets. He's technically learning stuff at this point too, because even the big ass dragon is keeping secrets. I do like that we get some nice emotional moments here, and some nice character developments for everybody, especially Kazumi, who's definitely all about saving people at this point.
And effectively admitting that, like, this is partially his fault. I think that's at least for me, that's the big one, is that when they talk about, the sacrifice of people and the weapon going off, he has a look of like, yeah, my freaking bad.
Well, it's all their bad because he probably fired the weapon, one, because Kazumi talked about where the resistance was. Two, they brought one of those people to Alice's throne room. Probably wasn't, in theory, that's why he attacked them in the first place. They look and act and have the abilities of the ancients to him. But they also brought one of the new people, one of the invaders.
That's right, because he looks at Freddy and says, "You brought one."
And then one of those things has the audacity to talk. No, he said that thing.
Okay.
Or something like that. Cordon is Zordon and Freddy's off 5. Yep. But yeah, basically it comes down to that point that's what happened. And so Freddy, without really waiting for anything at this point, he said, look, okay, he takes a big deep breath, fine, I'll help. So Freddy's like, yay, I'm gonna go over here and push buttons. And literally goes over, touches the thing, and his screen pops up. Your login has been allowed. It's just like, he probably got a Google notification somewhere. Trying to log in somewhere else. I got this. And so they leave, but not before asking a few more pertinent questions. But since we're short on time, we'll just skip over that. Actually, it's not that unimpertinent, so hold on. So, as we pointed out before, as they were sort of alluding to last time, Alice won't attack the temples. And he brings it up. He's like, I don't know, probably. Seems like that's what happens. Like, all-knowing dragon could have said, yeah, that's the way he programmed, to not attack the temples. But, as we saw with Segri, he could just change the targeting system. Then we get a repeat of him unlocking all the things, which I didn't translate the word lock and unlock. So he actually had like several security layers that he had to unlock before he could target Segri and turn off the security system. So but basically,
like
they say
computers from Evangelion.
I guess I wouldn't know, but they say, look, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move everybody that we know into the nearest temple because Alice won't attack them. And he's like, well, they probably still could. We're gonna be back in like 3 days. Good, man. Chill here. You rest up. We're gonna go build some new cool shit, and then we'll be back. At least that's the theory that that's what's going to happen. And he's like, yay! And then that's where it says, Muron, go tell everybody. And then he runs off the end of Milog Mountain, realizing he can't fly. No, seriously, like, how was he supposed? Unless there's a ladder, how did he get down? Because it's a big diamond-shaped mountain that's just floating right off the ground. Did his ass fall? I mean, like, he can't float down. The Gunpla leave. In theory. Yeah, in theory, they pulled the Gunpla inside to degenerate. We don't know. We never saw that. It happened off screen. Because after this point, we go back to real life in GBN, so to speak. They talk about how tired they are. They start talking about all the details, or like all the things like that. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here, and that's also where we go to commercial breaks. But they talk about the idea that, look, Alice. The main reason that Alice did any of this, and even has Gunpla-shaped things, is because Gurdorn logged into GBN, and now he could see through the same system what's happening, and then he copies Gunpla. We even get that flashback of he copied. Well, that's later, but he copied their 3 Gundam, the core Gundam. It's like he's just doing all these things, and in theory, they say it there, but we haven't got the confirmation that Seltsam is not the actual Tertium, but a corrupted copy, like we've seen. So that's how it exists outside the world, and it doesn't look the same. So, like I said, in theory, we could see Seltsam fighting Tertium, which would be cool. That's going to be
cool when that. I'm hoping that happens at some point, because that'd be.
I just hope. I just hope they don't do the thing where he gets free finally, and then it like turns back to normal, like it's got like a special coating over it, like they do in all other anime where something is.
I could get behind that, because that sounds kind of rad, but.
I think it'd be better if he logs out as the Seltsam pilot and logs back in as himself, and then the Seltsam just disappears, or gets totally blown up. I'm okay with that too. But we already know he's changing sides. He's fighting well enough that he's changing sides, and they're sending other things after him. It's like, oh, look at that! You can't control a human brain forever. 6 months. That's about it. And yeah, basically Freddy have to stay behind, even though he was like, I can help. No, you got to stay here and bring us back. But either way, we go back to the actual real world. But for some reason they point out that they left the sword behind for the Valkylander.
Yeah. And Park gets really cagey about that. My initial thought is like, is he doing the duplication glitch? Basically, he's gonna. So that way he pops in. It's like, cool. Now I have 2 swords. Yay!
Maybe, but we'd have to look at the EX version to see if he has 2 swords or not, or he just leaves there and can continue to use it. That's just a troll programming logic. Ancient supposed return through the ruins, but in the ruins are destroyed like Siguri. Then what the fuck? Yeah. Well, he wants them to be able to come back. They're his creators, unless he gets to the point that. Wait, if they come back, they'll shut me off. If he turns into self-preservation mode, then it's even worse.
Or it's like why you guys abandoned me and I'm serving you? No, we're done with this. I'm the one with the power. You're the ones who just shut me off and threw me in a corner.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense if you get that to. Ooh, we got 31. Hey. If the resentment happens, but that would happen if an actual ancients came back. So if we see Eve or somebody return, like people who technically created him, return somehow, which we don't have enough pads for that.
I could easily see him losing his shit.
Or they literally go, turn yourself off. And he goes, damn it. And it blinks out. It'd be so funny if it literally comes down.
Goes swiper, no swiping.
Yeah, exactly. That would be fun. Alice. Way worse than I anticipated. Not what I meant. Alice, no more strings. Yep. He's definitely Ultron. Just be honest. Good thing we know how Parloff is like, stop jumping ahead. We're not there yet. Either way, we jump to the real world. We see Kazumi in his room. We see his cool little shrine to everything. To Captain Xeon. I didn't get a screenshot of that. Doesn't matter. You know what it looks like. But we also see his original Justice Gundam So we know that he has a regular Justice Gundam, not just the Justice Knight, which is kind of cool. But
Yeah.
no other Gundam around. And we actually see him drawing on a little pad, probably working up the Aegis Knight. And then we actually seem to get a reason here in a second for that. But he stares out the window real quick, freaks out, remembering things, and he goes, shit, I'm scared to death. And he goes, wait, they're braver than me, so I have to be brave too. Blah, 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 blah. Then looks at his phone. I forget why. And as you pointed out here on the screen, his phone is a Votom theme. Oh, hold on. I actually have to have the share screen up.
Awesome.
That's such a small photo. Yeah,
so it's hard to see here, but
the iPhone camera looks like the Votom scopes.
Because I remember when that iPhone was revealed, I made the joke about that and shared it with a couple of people who didn't get it because they don't know anything about sci-fi robots. But when I was doing my review of this, I was like, "Oh, we can see the back of his camera or back of his phone. I'm wondering what kind of phone he has." I'm like, "Oh, it's an iPhone thing. Wait a minute, are those colored the way that I think?" And then I go bring up an image of a scope dog, and sure enough, it's the exact. If you rotate the scope dog little optic sensor thing the right way, it lines up exactly. And I thought that was hilarious.
It's kind of funny. South Pilot is probably a type of Shido's consciousness. He's actually his brain. That's the thing. South Pilot is Shido. You know, he completely was logged out of his own head. So I think that kind of proves that it is a real full dive when they're sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And then we get some more Cosme backstory. We see his dad on a ship flying the big ass flag, or boat rather, it's not a ship. And then we see a little festival market thing where he buys him, I think, his first Gunpla, which is the old Aegis kit.
Yeah, it's a no grade. He just, and I don't think it's so much he buys it. I think he wins it at one of the stalls or something like that because he's at a festival.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look around, you can see some of the other kits there. That's interesting.
Let's see.
There's a Justice Gundam off to the top corner. I can't tell what the one is directly above that.
There's I think that's there's a dual Gundam off to his right.
Yeah, yeah. It's all seed bait. Most of these look like they're seed bait. But it's pretty cool. Definitely an older HG side, at least no grade kit. But that's pretty cool. I like that. He's all excited. He's got a Gundam mask on. Cockeyed on his head, which is pretty neat. Obviously, if Dad died for some reason, as you pointed out, enough, maybe he'll have to see.
Yeah, because they use the sort of anime shorthand for passed away parent, where they don't show his face.
Yeah, they show the bottom half of his face. He's got like some scruff going on. And we jump over to Par, who is contemplating life, staring at a Wing Zero wing, obviously getting some inspirations. Thinks about Coeur can we even help a dragon, whatever. And then we finally get his backstory. Why he was scared to do anything, why he's in a wheelchair. And we can see that Rich Kid had his own, glider, which is really what it is. No engine.
It's supposed to be a glider, but it makes engine noises.
I don't think it's engine noise. I think it was wind noise. But anyway, I don't address that because there's literally no drive system on this, and it's super long, skinny wings. It's a glider. We know this.
It's based. I think it's based off an actual aircraft too. It looks super familiar.
It does look like one. So he's flying, having a grand old time. I don't know who lets like a 10-year-old go flying by himself, unattended. Rich, super rich people, I guess, is what they do. And he flies into a flock of birds, which is interesting. I thought that was going to be it. I'm like, is he going to be taken down by birds? And then no, he flies into a storm out of nowhere. Like, oh, hey, storm, bad, purple lightning, must escape. Oh no, the wind is so strong it snapped the wings, which is actually really plausible.
Yeah, because those things aren't designed super sturdy because they're designed to be super light.
Yeah. Solar flare. I mean, it could be, but even if it was an electric one, there's no thrust system on this at all. There's like nothing there. Oh, that's right. Cosme looks at the phone to see the group picture from the festival. That's right. But anyway, he crashes. And then we see him in the hospital. We see him get out. He's in a normal wheelchair with the butler. And then we see him at home where he's like knocked over his wheelchair. He's sitting in a corner crying.
If you look around the wheelchair, you see like
I saw a lot of
pamphlets and I think like trophies or something like that relating to flying.
Yeah, so obviously he was a flyer, so to speak. And then we jump to the near future. Please tell me a picture of that. Okay, I do. Where he's like on a cliffside with Shahryar. We actually see them together, which is awesome. And he's got his new spiffy wheelchair. And he's like, look, I know a place where you could fly again. Also, have you noticed that the controls for his wheelchair look like Gundam controllers? It's got the big round thing and the 4 buttons. That's actually interesting if they pilot it the way they piloted shit in Fighter Series before. That'd be funny. Actually, if he's diving just in his wheelchair, like he's got a whole thing like connected to the wheelchair, it'd be awesome. But either way, he basically,
I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be either. But he gives him a diver gear. And he's like, look, I can take you where you could fly. Now, I wanted to point something out here because I love to theory craft shit, especially with this series. A design note here, and I pointed it out to you. If you look at Par's pendant on his chest, Shahriyar's pendant on his chest. Same symbol, which probably represents their family in some degree, the Arja family. But Shahryar, the older brother, has a single thing dangling. Par has 3 things dangling. Is there somebody who has 2 things dangling? Maybe there's another Arja brother out there. Or sister. Perhaps. Yeah, could be. I think it might be interesting if there's a 3rd family member out there that they don't talk about. Chair could even be a petite mobile suit. That'd be so weird. Rich parents. I mean, they're like probably the richest family in the fucking world, so who knows?
I think that's sort of the implication, right?
Yeah.
Because something you didn't mention is that he was in a giant yacht when we come back, when we see him in the real world before we start seeing this flashback. His home right now is a giant boat that's bigger than a building.
Well, I assume that they're all still sort of near each other, because they only met up not long ago in real life. But I gotta wonder if there is a mystery sibling that may or may not come up in a future series. I think it'd be interesting, like a totally unrelated character comes on screen wearing that necklace and it's probably an antagonist and has a two pendants hanging off. I think it would be interesting.
That would be cool. I'd be down for that.
Because design is kind of everything. They seem to hint at a lot of things with the design of stuff. Like, oh, by the way, I forgot to point it out to you. Remember, we figured out last week that the Haros represented the different divers and their colors, and that one kit does have the Par Haro in it. The other one, that's just the orange loader, is the Hiroto Haro. So it's got the white.
Cool.
Yeah, I looked at it the other day because I was going to order it. The Gyan siblings all over again. Interesting. Cruise ship and probably looks like Freedom of the Seas. It's not a yacht; it's a cruise ship, basically. But it leads to the idea of Morgiana. Oh, that's right. He's sitting out on the deck, so to speak, and looking at Morgiana. After that, So at some point, he's going to upgrade Morgiana, or just give it a paint job and new wings, I guess. Oh yeah, hashtag where's the Shahri? Because where the hell is any of the original divers?
Yeah,
like we haven't seen, except for flashbacks and Maggie and Nami, but I'm not counting Nami. We haven't seen, and Nami hasn't been around, so she only works for the Gundam base. And Maggie is actually her caretaker. Nami's like her security guard.
Which is hilarious, but yeah, it's been, and this is a question that we've been asking since pretty much episode 1 is what happened to the original build divers? Because we had all sorts of theories about that they were somehow connected to this, and so far they haven't been, but this really feels like something that, if not the original build divers, somebody that is close to the administration, like, I don't know, actual Game Master or even Team Avalon would have some sort of knowledge and action
like,
on.
Yeah, it's like, did they retire? Like, not.
Yeah.
But like, how do they just disappear and nobody mentions them? You know, there's no records of Build Divers activities and stuff like that, like the original ones, so to speak. So we already know that Champion and Ogre are supposed to come back somehow, some way. Or at least we'll see their new Gunpla. They may not be really involved in anything whatsoever. They definitely aren't going to come to Eldora. We can tell that already, because nobody else can get there. It's just these 4 people. I don't see why somebody else in the party, like, they couldn't bring in a sub, like, along, you know? Leave Par out, bring in another 4th, you know? Everyone but Cosme has some connection to the original Divers in some way. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Somebody either knows. Well, Hiruto doesn't technically have a connection to the Divers other than he was on Team Avalon.
I mean, he fought against.
He fought against. He was in the battle, but didn't fight anybody directly. He didn't have any direct contact with them. He just had a history with the Divers. As in, he was on the losing side of
Riku.
Almost didn't, because he was on one side, but either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't need them to come back. I just want to know what happened. Why aren't they around? Maggie doesn't even talk about it. Speaking of Maggie, we go to Maggie and May on a bench. Seriously, does nobody even talk about the tiny girl sitting on the bench talking to this guy? Does nobody address that there are tiny electronic people walking around in this world now? So, I mean, is it just the norm?
Maybe. I mean, there are a total of what was it, 86, 87 or something like that?
Was it 83?
Divers that they know of.
Yeah.
And one would assume that the ones that they know of have been given the ability to have Gunpla bodies to walk around in the
theory,
real world.
They have their little doll bodies, but then they all have to have some caretaker with them, or else somebody would just snatch them up. But I get it. It is Japan.
Unusual. I imagine this park that they're at, maybe they are a regular occurrence there. It's not too far from McGee's Bar, and they just go out there to hang out.
I think they less than alluded to that it's not 100% public knowledge. Like GBN knowledge, people who participate knowledge, sure. Totally makes sense. You're in that world, literally. But why would everyday normal people have any concept of what's happening? I mean, unless they put it out as real world news, but they also wouldn't let people know that, oh, by the way, there's little tiny electronic people out there. Don't steal them. You know, they met in a restaurant, but they were kind of off to themselves, you know. But like, if anybody just walked up, they would assume Maggie's talking to nobody, and then they would turn the corner and see a tiny little girl sitting on there, or standing on the seat next to them. And then once again, he's talking to a doll, you know, and then it's talking back. At that point, you just feel like you've lost your mind and you walk away, right? Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening here.
They reach into their jacket, pull out a bottle of booze, and drop it or pour it out.
Yeah, we'll see. That's the other thing. Like Gregory just pointed out, Divers might be normal or rare, but normal. But everyone freaks out when all of the divers who meet her in person freak out when they see her. So it's not like they might know about it, but they've never seen it. But also, they're part of that world, not a normal person. I get that a huge chunk of the world is all about Gunpla, just like in the Yu-Gi-Oh verse. You know, everybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh. It's a part of literal life. But like normal people probably just are associated to GBN, but don't do the thing, you know. car manufacturer probably don't give a shit about what's happening in an imaginary Gundam internet world. Bandai's version of Toy Story, where we just pretend that we don't see them. But we get that whole conversation, and she lets him know about the sand and the incarnation system, and Maggie's like, huh, that's interesting. And then said, look, we're limited to only like 4 people, so that sucks. Because I think even Maggie would be like, I want to go. I want to see the cute furry people. But I mean, that's not even rare to them. That's why it's funny. Like, there are other people who can pretend to be whatever in the game. So even when they encountered the Eldoran people, they didn't have any concept that it was foreign.
Yeah,
everything.
One of the top players is a freaking mongoose.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a slee stack, they probably would freak the fuck out.
A what?
A slee stack. Seriously, you don't? Did you just freeze?
No, okay. I'm frozen and I don't know what a slee stack is.
Well, Google it when it's over. Anyways, that would be a very odd occurrence if you ran into one of those. I don't think anybody choosing to look like a slee stack. Yeah, I guess that makes sense in ReRISE. Either way, we move on to the far more important conversation as we see Hiruto standing, looking over a thing in a park that really, or park or whatever he's standing at, reminds me way too much of where Naruto is after he finds out Jiraiya's dead and he's sitting on the park bench eating a popsicle to himself. So real sad night lighting outside. I don't want to think about that. But he's just thinking to himself, and his dad walks up and he's like, this is a nice place to think. Like, obviously it's near home. And he goes there to think. We know that Dad's a writer. We've only seen him like 3 times in the series so far. And it's usually when he comes out of his room to either eat or panic. I think our theories from before of him writing the story are pretty much out the window at this point, because we know it's not
it was an interesting concept, but obviously not what they were doing.
Yeah. But he's like, literally, it's like, are you in a slump? Like, I think Hiruto says it to him first. And he's like, no, actually, I got some stuff done today. And then he's like, are you? Like, and he's like, he's like, oh, you actually noticed? So, like, even though Dad's been busy and definitely, actually, because I don't have a screenshot for a second here, his dad is very in his own world all the time. That by the way, there was a Hinata break in there when she goes back to the hospital. Nobody gives a shit. She just learns about Masaki. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then had real awkward conversation where she pretends to be at the hospital for a totally different reason to run into.
Yeah, that was weird.
And she's like, really? So he literally says, are you saving the world with your gunpla? And it's just like, okay, Dad's really paying attention. But I guess because in Hiruto's old world, so to speak, he kind of was, especially if he knew that Eve was an Eldiver and he was trying to protect her and blah, 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 blah. And Gunpla was super important to him. It was his world. And then he falls out of it after the incident. And then now he's back into it. Clearly, he must have been gone for a long-ass time today. Because, like, how long did all of that take? Because that's real world time when they're on Eldora. Like, they had to have been there for 8 hours. Like, are you just not going to notice your kids are gone all fucking day? Like, I get it. Super rich kid has nowhere else to be. Fine. Little electronic girl. She probably in the bar.
Lives in the world, so yeah.
Yeah, she's actually at home. It's actually odd for her to be. Well, I guess she logs out too, just to have a normal life. But then Hiruto, who could be at school or doing anything, is down at the bar, the Gunpla bar or whatever it's called, G Cafe, for like 8 fucking hours. Also, is it free? Do you have to pay to use that? Because if people are diving for hours on end there, is it free?
And is that place like 24? Is the Gundam base like 24-hour operation in this, so that way people can be logged in for long periods of time like that?
Across the world. They must be, but also the idea that you would have raids with people who live on the other side of the world, and you got to go at different times, so it must be accessible all day long, or all night long, rather. Man, they got woke. One would say he's on par with his brother. Fuckers. They're making par puns. Land of the Lost. Finally, somebody understood what I meant with the Slee Stack reference. How old is Hiroto? Hiroto's like 15, if I remember correctly. Maybe pay a membership to the individual Gundam base. That would make sense, because most people seem to be using their own base if they don't have a home diving system, which I feel like a lot more people should have. But it seems like Koichi was the only one who had one. But either way,
I mean, they do it to kind of make to help advertise Gundam Base a little bit, considering, particularly in the first series where they were using an actual real place.
But either way, he basically says, look, sometimes you got to get over your block. You got to do all these other things. Shit happens, but you got to move on, and more or less. But then we get a really important conversation. And I had these totally out of order the first time I did. I'm like, why is this all fucked up? So I like this. So we'll talk about my theory here in a minute, but we're just go over it. And Dad literally says, look, when I was young, I wrote this story more intensely than ever in my life. A dark history. Wait, is that supposed to be the last thing? Yeah, that's supposed to be the last thing. Sorry. But it turned out to be the biggest failure in my life, too. So, most intense thing. And it said, a dark history I'd like to forget. So, as a young writer, he wrote something amazing, super intense, probably sunk himself way into it. He probably put a lot of his own feelings of whatever the story was into it. And then it was a massive failure. It just flopped. But then the important thing he says here is like, I was just contacted by a company who wants me to bring it back, to redo my story. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, he thinks about it for a second. It's like, even though it's a work of fiction, it can still have an effect on people. It could still make a difference in people's lives, even if it makes them happy. And if that's true, then I should do it. So, like, he's both reticent and excited at the same time. That it seems like he's also getting a chance not only to retell the story, but maybe make some new changes to it, because somebody clearly loved his old story that failed enough to want it to come back. And that, of course, inspires Hiroto to run inside. Well, I guess he doesn't run inside, but goes back inside and he whips out the Raven, which is like really like bandaged up. Like he really locked down his stuff. Like, I'm never doing any of this again.
Yeah. I was wondering about that too. Like, why is that one bound, basically?
I think they all kind of were, except for like Mars. But like
Mars was just in a tub with a little label maker label on it.
See, I find it funny that like he seems to have forbade himself from his Gunpla, literally to the point of putting them in their own little coffins, so to speak. So they're there, and they can remind him not to do this again. Like, obviously, like, he was probably a very powerful competitor. We already know that. He was really good before he came back in searching for Eve. Like, he could have probably whipped the Divers originally had he been close enough to that main battle.
Well, he was a member of Team Avalon. They don't let just anybody join.
Yeah, they're not. Team. They don't do noobs. They have a lot of elites.
Yeah, like, pretty much.
An elite lone pilot who doesn't really do teams and clearly has some incredibly powerful weapons at his disposal, but to the point that he will lock them up to keep himself from using them again. This is like, what is this one gonna do other than have more guns? As we see, like, it usually has a huge cannon, possibly little funnels is what the little white dinghies are, I think. But like, it's funny that he really did have that one bound up. This series got me into building again after burning out, which is interesting. So here's what Dad is saying, some deep words there. True. how meta that conversation. Oh, that conversation's meta as hell.
Yes.
If it means more, like I theorized, because of just the line that's on the screen here. Like, okay, we're gonna skip the teaser for last week. They're gonna just do stuff. It's fine. That's the point. Things are gonna happen. We need to have this conversation. I almost made a video for this on Thursday, like just throwing this whole theory out here. I got too sidetracked, and there's no way I was gonna get it out in time. In Gundam, there's only one thing that has really been referred to as a dark history. And it goes all the way back to to some bullshit that I don't personally believe in, and that is from Turn A. They discover the dark history, where all Gundam series up till that point are connected in one timeline. Mm-hmm. Every universe gets wiped out by the Moonlight Butterfly, starts over, and we just keep doing shit.
Tomino even, I think, has gone on record saying that he personally would have liked it for all of his series, including Ideon and what was the one that he worked on before Gundam? Something
he was on Yamato, wasn't he?
No.
I had all this pulled up. I thought he was. I thought he helped out in some way. But yeah, no, there's series before Gundam that other type of series that got. So there's like a Tomino verse. Even his most recent Gundam work, which is G Reco, which also is definitely tied together with Moonlight Butterfly. It's like, oh look, the thing that resets the universe exists in this universe. So basically, the claimant that all Gundam history is somehow tied together. I still don't subscribe to that, especially 00. Fuck that. Anything that's in the AD timelines is kind of not tied in, including IBO. IBO isn't. I think they even said Age kind of isn't. Now, Tomino didn't write those series, but basically saying, look, I'm literally the father of Gundam. All Gundam is together, kind of, under the idea. But the dark history literally refer to everything that is all the shitty things that have happened to the world, not specifically Wing, which he does not talk about. Do not ask Tomino about Wing, apparently.
The Wing is referenced in Turn A.
No, I get that. But I mean, like, personally, like, people ask him about Wing and shit on it, and he will rage. That's why I did a little bit of research, but that's true. Yeah, 00 Age IBO, they're not connected either. Those don't have anything to do with each other. Zambot.
I could also see Seed and argue for Seed because that was after Turn A, and Seed was kind of their attempt at making a new UC.
Yeah, kind of universe. Seed could definitely be part of it, assuming that the universe gets reset. Anyways, all the themes are the same. Technology is super similar, but G Gundam, fuck you. That doesn't fit in anywhere. That has no connection to that. None of the Divers series are clearly happening. Any Fighter Divers series is not happening in that universe because it references that universe. That's way too meta. You know?
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're gonna turn our own history into TV shows and video games. No. So those things don't count. So this doesn't count as something in that timeline. However, his dad, in my theory, is speaking for Tomino. Because this entire episode is about creators leaving behind a disaster, leaving a way for themselves to come back and rebirth. And then he specifically
ReRISE.
ReRISE. He specifically says a failed story from my past. Original Gundam really didn't do that well.
No,
not on initial release. The point was cut short. They had to fight to get the 30 some odd episodes that they did get. Because they were cut down.
I want to say.
That's what it was supposed to be. They cut it down, and then they bumped it back up. It was kind of a flop. And then once Gunpla came out, the love for the show happened. You know, and then we also got the movies thrown together. The 3 original movies of original Gundam were created to truncate that idea. It's funny that for newbies like myself, it's like, oh, they just make movies instead of series. No, it's kind of what they did at the beginning. It's like, oh, that didn't really work, so just make it all into a movie. And of course, he wrote, there was the manga and of course the novelization that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, did Gundam, and I dropped this in my community tab, is Gundam as a series, Sunrise as it were, hinting that they're bringing Tomino back to redo original Gundam in some form? Because literally says a company came to me to retell my old story because people love it and want to see it again. I mean,
I don't necessarily agree with this. I think it's an interesting thought, but I don't agree with you on this
theory. My theory, not yours. But he specifically references a story that was told before that failed. Yes. Now, we've already gotten a new retelling of this story with Origin. Origin's a couple of years old now, but that is the perfect jumping off point for a brand new retelling of original Gundam. We already have some retcons that fix some mistakes with the original series, make some things make a little more sense. If you're going by the Red Comet series, a little bit more fucked up, but movies make things a little more clear. But even if they don't do a whole brand new series, what if they did a series of 6 movies? Easier to do. They already have the ability to make these characters and this stuff happen. They could go all the way through, catch back up, so to speak, to a lot of these series. You know, give us something from each new UC era that he wrote. You know, original Gundam, Zeta, Double Zeta, you know, all the way through. Anything he wrote and he made as a Gundam series in the UC, because fuck all the other series that clearly don't tie into the UC. Do it. You know, except all the way up, don't go all the way to Turn A, just go all the way up to Unicorn at least. Or NT. But they could do it. They have the ability. And look, we're getting new designs for old Gundams with all the G40 stuff. Like real redesigns. Like the previous ones were like slight redesigns on the same things. G40 does not look like the G30. You know?
Yeah. And I think it would be interesting if they were to do a new Gundam series based off of what we saw in that sort of preview of, or that little G40. I don't even know what you'd call it, because it's not. It's like an OVA, but there isn't much of a story. But like the way they change up the setting a little bit, and there's some some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah. But no, that's what I'm saying there, Jerry. It'd be interesting if they did a movie series of original Gundam through a certain amount of time. Even if they just retold original Gundam to clean it up and make it a more stable, so to speak, series. And yes, I know Androias. I know they did the movies. They did the novelizations. My point is, that was 40 fucking years ago. How many people are begging, literally begging, myself included, to have original Gundam redone with new animation? Wouldn't be that hard. The script is there. The story is there. He could do the novel version if he really wants to, even though he says he likes the anime ending better than the one he wrote in the novel where Amuro dies and Char have to go finish things off. So is it out of the realm of possibilities? He's still alive. You know, I see this as a direct reference to something. Like, they call it out. And I mean, he's staring into the camera. Like, he's literally telling you somebody's asking for a story to be retold that was old and a failure. Now, if they want to pick a specific series, like you pointed out, X, fine. But who's really begging for that to come back and be retold? You know? But I don't know, what are they talking about? Sorry, the chat's got some shit happening. Yeah, there's already an animated short where Amuro is forced on the RX-72 that vastly differentiates from the original timeline. Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I thought it was part of Origin. What are they talking about? I thought Heroes of Dad was meant to be an insert of the writers' Build Diver series. That wouldn't really make sense though. But with it being the 40th anniversary, they could totally do something. And like, or fuck it, we have a live action movie coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I could see it being a reference to that.
How hard? It could be a reference to that. Tomino is busy doing G-Reco movies. Who gives a fuck about that? That's not new.
Oh,
Nobody's asking for that.
but he is doing that, so that could be a reference to that, because G-Reco is a series that he did.
He didn't write that young.
He wrote G-Reco.
Not when he was young. He literally says, when I was young. He's referring to an old story. Either way, I think, you know, I'm not saying 100%. I have no proof. It's called a theory, motherfuckers.
A Gunpla theory.
Yeah, everybody forgot about the live action movie because we've seen nothing of it at all since the teaser way back when. But that's my idea. Like, this is a weird minute that they focus everything on what he's saying. And
I am with you that there's something. It is an odd thing for them to throw into the end of the show, particularly to have that. They thought it was important enough that they omitted the standard closing animation so that they could have this conversation.
Yeah, so we had only the outro last episode. So out of the 4 episodes that we've had so far, 4.
Thereabouts, I don't know.
Yeah, we only had 1 actual outro. So this was important enough that they've ran the whole thing. And also, you got to think about this. Diver doesn't take place in a fictional Gundam universe. It takes place in real world where Gundam is fiction. And he's talking about a work of fiction can change someone's life. It can mean something to them, even to the point that, you know, he's telling him to go save the world with his Gunpla is what he's really trying to do. He's like, look, if it helps you, go save the world with your Gunpla. Or if it's helping others, go do it. He doesn't know that that's literally happening, but he's referring to his own writer's block, his own failures, and being asked to come back and fix something that you loved, but it failed before. You know, a lot of people have talked about original Gundam's themes, and he even said, like, look, I didn't necessarily have a specific idea. I kind of wanted it open-ended so you could draw your own conclusions about what it meant to you. You know, even though it was very like anti-war or whatever, or a definite war theme because it is a war-driven thing. And whoever said that Tomino didn't do Origin? Yeah, I know, I said that. Yeah, exactly. The idea that he's doing G-Reco movies just like Cameron is making Avatar movies. Because it's supposed to have like 4 Avatar movies by now. It's been 10 years since the first one, longer. Yeah, the big I think that the live action Gundam movie is going to be too big, and I don't think they would just retell. And there's like no behind the scenes, like somebody snagged some shots of things, you know, things like that. How fucked up would it be if they actually have like the big quote unquote walking Gundam in the live action movie? Like the whole reason they're building that is literally to throw it in the movie for real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we don't talk about G Savior. No one talks about G Savior. But I don't know. It's too big of a reference. It's too big of a listen to what I'm saying, you know. And given that basically as it was, Gundam was a failure originally. And then it turned into one of the biggest things in the world. You know, voted one of the best anime series of all time. If you literally have the creator here to retell the story, but in a modern day setting, so to speak, not just, you know, not like a clone, but literally like, hey, and if they started out right where Origin left off, I know he didn't do Origin, I don't give a fuck about that. That is the perfect place to literally start the retelling of that story. Like they leave it at where the original Gundam should start, right? You know, minutes later probably is where the original Gundam should start. I mean, if they were literally working that on the background since Origin dropped, years ago, the whole time they're like secretly redoing original Gundam with Tomino, I'd be excited as a new to original Gundam fan. It's like real fans should be really fucking excited if that's what it means. Like fix the animation, keep the story 90% the same, and make it new. Modern animation, modern everything.
Well, I have just been given a notification that I need to start wrapping things up here.
It's 10:35. Yes, I know. So I'm trying to wrap it up. But either way, let me know what you guys think about your theory, except for Androius, because I don't care. You become my new Skyfire or Jetfire. But either way, I think that it's a direct reference to something. I think unless they're going to bring back another creator who failed really badly in Gundam. Do you know one offhand? It's like
Turn X was the only other series to be canceled before its run.
Turn A.
Sorry, not Turn A.
No.
Gundam After War Gundam X was the only Gundam series that was canceled before its run. Turn A completed its run, but it doesn't get quite as much love as other series. Maybe that's just because it was so weird and then was immediately followed up by Seed, which is insanely popular in Japan. Not so much over here.
I'd argue people like Seed over here a lot. I mean,
it does have its fans, but I hear a lot of people talking down about Seed, particularly Destiny. But then in Japan, you see that they're constantly popping out strikes and freedoms and freedoms and stuff.
Yeah, do they really need Tomino for G-Reco? No. I mean, like, if the G-Reco movies are new, not just breaking down the series like they usually do, then who the fuck cares? You don't need the original person there to make that happen, But if you want to retcon the original thing, hey baby, what's up? Huh? Is the AC on?
Oh, I heard it, but it's so hot.
Okay, well take your temperature. She's hot for some reason, even though the AC is running. Either way, yes, the creator of Age failed miserably. Yeah, but nobody cares. I liked Age. It was fine for that. Age is not that bad. Problem is that Age was written by somebody who was used to making video games. It's paced like a video game, not like a TV show. It was his first ever run at making a TV show. It's not that bad. But either way, he's got to go. I got to go find out what's going on with her. So guys, do the like, do the subscribe thing. We saw at least 31 people watching at one point. That's awesome. Make sure you do subscribe to his channel. Most of you are probably subscribed to me already. And if you are subscribed to me, go watch things. I mean, people need to be watching more stuff. Like, I have 6,000 subscribers and I'm only getting like 100 views on things. Do the thing. Also, a lot more stuff coming up on the secondary channel. So if you want to see all the other fun, nerdy content I make, go subscribe to the secondary channel and all the other things. And of course, just stick around. Hopefully we see where the series is going and they don't have to stop too long after episode 19.
Yeah.
Because they're going to leave us on a terrible cliffhanger and it's going to suck, especially if it's not a purposeful cliffhanger, but it's like, oh crap, we can't make the next episode cliffhanger. It's not even suspenseful. It's like, shit,
Yeah.
So guys, have a great night. Have a great week. And remember, as always, to keep on nerding, to keep on building, and let's keep building up these live streams together.
And I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.
Yes, go and invade his shelf space.
Yes.
Oh yeah, MS100 contest.
Yes.
Running out of time. Literally the last couple weeks.
I need to finish up mine.
Yes.